Hey everyone, Nikki here. If you're new to my channel, I talk about all things watercolor painting, art making, processes, and I'm even sprinkling a little bit of business advice. I've been an artist for the last 12 or so years. I'm probably best known as Life I Design and for my Watercolor Made Simple online classes and books. And I want to share with you a little bit more advice if you are looking to start making money from your art and you're feeling a little unsure. So the uncertainty you feel when you start your art business is something that's totally natural. Everyone feels it, especially as you're developing yourself as an artist and really getting comfortable with owning the title of artist. So if you're feeling stuck and you're unsure as to where to start, I'm going to give you some advice in this episode. So some things I'll cover is how to get unstuck and what that looks like. What are some key mindset shifts that you have to make? And I talk about mindset a lot in my program, Life You Design, because it really makes a difference with how we shift our perspective and what we're able to create and do. And then I'll give you a little simple roadmap for your art business so you can get going and get started. So if you find this to be helpful, go ahead and give me a follow and let me know in the comments what your biggest struggles are so that I can prepare for a new episode. So the first reason that we normally feel stuck when we want to start our art business is the fear of failure and perfectionism. Failing isn't a great feeling, and it's something that we try to avoid at all costs. It's something we avoid in so many parts of our life, but I am a big advocate for making mistakes and learning the most from those mistakes. So worrying about perfectionism and worrying about failing can create unnecessary stress and overwhelm because those are things that have yet to happen. And I don't know about you, but I learn the most from the mistakes that I make. And I have learned to let go more and to create things like this video that isn't perfect. Maybe my lighting is off, maybe my audio isn't perfect, but what's important is I'm getting my message out to you. So releasing the fear of failure and releasing that need for perfectionism will be what gets you started and really enjoying the journey and the process as you go. Okay, another reason why we feel stuck is sometimes we're overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed by the process, especially as artists. We have to focus on a lot of different things. We have to make art so we have something to sell. And not all of the art that we make are going to be hits or even going to be ones that you want to share. Then we have to figure out how are we going to share that art? Where are we going to sell it? Who's going to buy that art? There's a lot of things and moving parts, but if you get a process together and simplify, which I'm a huge fan of, I'm currently doing it in my business as well, then that starts to free up a little bit of that feeling of overwhelm and creates more ease. Okay, this next one's a big one. It is the feeling of imposter syndrome. And yes, we've all been there. And again, I feel like as artists, we put a lot more pressure on ourselves, and we, in fact, do have a lot of pressure. I'm going to acknowledge that. We have to evaluate if our work is good enough. And again, I don't even like to use that term good enough, but will people want to buy it and invest in it? Will they understand the art that you make and will they connect to it? So imposter syndrome is a huge one. And I think really that's where you bring in your mindset tools and you really work on who you are as an artist, really own that process, own your expression, and start to break away from those feelings of imposter syndrome. Okay, number 2 is really all about mindset. And again, it's the mindset of done versus perfectionism. So every art piece that you create, there's a process to the end game or the end point, and only you can decide if your art piece is finished or not. That's another question that comes up a lot for me. Artists will ask, well, how do I know if a piece is finished? And you really have to be the one to determine that. And that can be a whole other episode because I have lots of advice when it comes to that. But knowing that when something is done, just let it go. If you try to work on all of the minutia, the little details, and try to make things perfect, again, take this video for example. There's so many ways that I can improve the quality of this video, but that's not how I want to spend my time. I really want to connect with you so that you get these points versus making sure that my background is beautiful and maybe you don't see the chords behind me. So working on that perfectionism and getting it done versus making sure that every single detail is in place. Just get it done, release it, and move on to the next thing. So this next one's a big one, and I think it's really important when you're starting your art business to define your own success. Again, I'm going to mention Life You Design, my program where I help artists monetize their art and start their art business. I always start with looking inward before we look outward. And I think with social media, it's great because we do get a snapshot of what other people are doing and creating, and we're inspired by what they're doing, but we're also comparing ourselves to where they are in their art business or art careers. So as a new artist, maybe you're comparing an artist who's been in business for 10 years and who have fantastic art sales, great collaborations, look like that, their life is perfect on the outside, but they've worked so hard and they've gone through their mindset techniques. They have failed. They have created things that are not perfect and have experienced all those things. So I think creating a baseline for where you're at and then goal setting is really huge so that you have something to aspire to, and looking inward versus, again, looking at what's happening around us and what other people are doing. Okay, so another thing that I feel holds artists back is not having that roadmap. So I talked briefly about it, but not knowing where you're going and what that path looks like. So again, thinking about your process, your starting point, and what you want to put into place so that you can start selling your art. And even what type of art are you selling? Do you know if you're going to be selling it online or in person? So having a bit of a roadmap is really important, because then with a plan in place, it's like when you go to a new location and you have to drive there, you're not going to get in the car and just go and feel overwhelmed and lost and stressed and then turn back and go home because you don't have a plan. You're going to go, I use Google Maps, you're going to go in and get the directions, make sure that there is a plan to get there, and then whatever happens along the way will happen. But you know the route and you're going to be guided in that process. The same is true with starting an art business. If you're just deciding, okay, I'm going to go, and you don't have a plan, then of course you're going to be overwhelmed, or you're not going to feel successful, or you're even going to stop and feel like a failure. So you're probably thinking, whoa, Nicki, what happened? You were sitting in a beautiful chair next to your window. My camera died. I literally ran out of space on my camera, but this message was so important to you that I decided to adapt. And this video may not be perfect and it may not be as polished as I would like, but I'm just gonna go with it and continue to finish and to put this message out there so that you can get everything that I want to share with you. Again, perfectionism, let's just let it go. Okay, the next thing I want you to think about is make it really simple. So choose a simple platform, one way that you're going to share your art so you can start making sales. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. And talking about keeping it simple, I want you to think about what paintings you're going to share and start selling first. So you might just have a ton of paintings around you and thinking, I'm going to sell them all, and I'm going to photograph them all, and I'm going to share them all, and then suddenly I'm overwhelmed and I have so much to do and I don't know what to do next, and I'm going to go turn on Netflix and have a snack. Guilty. So I want you to simplify your portfolio. So pick one platform for your strategy for how you're going to sell your art, and then simplify. Start with just a few of your favorite pieces and really connect emotionally to why you painted them, and share that with people so that you can start to make some art sales and really feel like you're being pulled on that path and enjoying the process as well. Okay, so I gave you lots of tips, and what I want to leave you with is that starting an art business can be so fulfilling and fun and creative, and introduce you to some really neat people and to some great collaborations and experiences. And I want all of those things for you, as well as success and whatever your revenue goals are and your personal goals are. But I want you to think about small things that you can do to get you to your end goal and really enjoy that process. So it's not about knowing absolutely everything. It's just having those steps and being consistent in what you do to start your art business. You don't need to have all the answers. I will help you with that. Comment below and let me know what are some things that are holding you back from starting to sell your art or setting up an art business. And if you found this video helpful and have enjoyed it even through all the imperfections, then please go ahead and subscribe. If you're looking to start your own art-based business and have a lot more questions and need some guidance in the process, I have a new program that I'm really excited to share with you. It's called Life You Design. I'll drop the link below and check it out. If you have questions, let me know. Hopefully I'll see you on the inside. Thanks for spending this imperfect time with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.